Hear me, Gary? Alrighty. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our fourth coach seminar for the 2015 FLL season. My name is Michael Adam, Director for Central Valley Robotics. Hopefully, you all know me by now. Have some quick things I wanted to cover before we jumped into questions. Kind of some lessons learned from the first three qualifiers. Do remember that it is, you go through all three judging sessions in one 45-minute period. So when you go to your first judging session, make sure you take everything for all three, because there's between 5 to 6 minutes between each session to go move to the next room and get ready and go in. So there's not a lot of turnaround, so it's very important to bring everything with you when you first go to judging. Once you're done with your third judging session, you can leave the judging area and then go back to your pits and get ready for the rest of the robot game matches. Had some issues with that at other events. Just want to make sure that we're all on the same page there. Practice tables. Reminder that you can sign up in advance. Sign-ups will open Wednesday night. So hopefully, I will post the schedules as well. Will be around 6 p.m. Wednesday night. You'll be able to sign up for 2 slots. In the case of the Clovis North event, the practice tables are split between 2 rooms. Hopefully by next Wednesday you will know your pit assignment, because there's 2 pits, and the practice tables are in those pits, 2 in each. And so you'll be able to, Team Connect will now distinguish between the rooms, so you'll be able to pick slots in your room. You'll just have to make sure you scroll down the list to make sure that you're picking slots in the right room. That will open Wednesday night, close Friday morning, Friday afternoon-ish, about noon, and then you'll be able to sign up more on the day of the event. That's when it will open for more than 2, depending on availability and all that stuff as it goes throughout the day. Buchanan is, I'm not sure if anybody got that email that went out last night. They are looking for another practice table to be an official table so they can have 3. If you are interested in helping with that, you can just reply to that email that you should have got from Team Connect yesterday. The open practice table rules are important. So if you cannot set up any new practice tables in the pits, Buchanan's will be in the Buchanan gym this year. Just remember, you can't, due to safety stuff we've had in the past, can't set up new tables in the pits, but if they are set up anywhere else in the venue, outside, whatever, the open practice table rules do apply, and expect that only dual lock models only on the fields for practice tables. Very important. That's to prevent the free-floating models from walking away. We just don't provide them because they walked away in the past. So it's dual lock models only. If you want to use the practice tables, you have to bring your own free-floating models for whatever missions you want to attempt. Just as a reminder, because we've had some things happen at other events, the 3 parts of the project are very important: identifying a problem, developing a solution, and sharing the solution. The last part's key. Sharing with others. It's important to go out to the community, whether it be a teacher, somebody not affiliated with the team, share what the team has developed as part of their problem and solution this year. It is considered a full disqualification to not share the project. It is very important to share the project, even if it's just very little. From going from not displayed to minimum is different than, that you want to have that little minimum, because it is a full disqualification. Even you can't even win the Robot Performance Trophy. It's important to share. It's considered to be part of the challenge, and not sharing is considered not meeting the challenge requirements. So, just want to make sure that's very clear. We've had some people surprised by that at events this year, and it's important that it's made clear to the judges during the session. It should be clear during the presentation, that 5-minute presentation, and if the judges are still curious on it, they'll ask questions on it. It's very important that kids give clear answers to identify those 3 parts during the project session. Remember to kind of follow the coaches' bad rules in the judging sessions. Some incidents that occur where coaches were running around the room taking pictures and distracting the judges, and the judges don't like that at all. That does raise some flags for the judges. There is rules in the season standards manual about there's a specific place that the coaches are supposed to sit, and we need coaches to stay in those spots to prevent the distracting the judges, because it's only really hurting the team at that point, because the judges have to then make sure the coach is not doing anything they're not supposed to. The December events will be live streamed. We got lucky enough to just live stream the Duncan event on the 21st of November. We just did a technology test and it worked, and we were like, we weren't expecting it to work, and so that was kind of cool that we did. We had to pull it though because some music came through, and YouTube doesn't like when you stream copywritten music, and so we're going to have to cut that a bit to make it so that it is legal again. But we are going to plan on, since we are on Clovis Unified Networks, we know that we can stream on those, so we will stream both the Buchanan and North event. There'll be links sent out in advance on where that live stream will be located. They'll also be posted on our Facebook and everywhere, so that parents and whoever can tune in and watch. Does that cover all the stuff I wanted to talk about? I believe so. And just you'll be getting surveys from me as always. For all of you veteran teams, you know about my surveys. I do appreciate them when they're complete, they do give us some feedback. Sometimes it's stuff that we didn't expect, stuff we try that we didn't know that, sometimes stuff we try doesn't work, and it's good to know. Or maybe there's an incident that occurred that we don't even know about, and it's good that we become made aware of it. Any other questions on anything not robot game related? So check-in is from 8 to 9. The students don't need to be present for that. It just needs to be a coach that comes in, checks in, gets the packet of everything, and then the rest of the kids can kind of show up before then. Opening ceremonies is at 9. It'd be nice, we probably want all kids present for that. It's kind of a fun little jump start for the day. So by 9 for everyone, but the students don't need to be there for check-in. And then the scheduled events will start at 10:05, and then the schedule goes from there to about 4 o'clock, and then closing starts at 5. And there's a lunch break. It's like 11:40 to 12:40-ish. The agendas on the event pages have the full breakdown of things. For those that tried to access it earlier today, the server did have a little bit of a hiccup, and all the tournament information went down for about probably 12 hours until someone emailed me and I fixed it. But it's all up now. I did update the agenda for the North qualifier last week. It was over Thanksgiving. I updated the times to be a little more accurate, and the date was wrong on it. It said the 15th instead of the 12th. So I fixed that, and so that's updated on there. So expect schedules also, team schedules, which will have your individual match times and your judging sessions to go up around Wednesday night. And for those that have not read them, I fortunately don't have the projector working, so I can't show it, but you'll find your team number, and then across your 3 match sessions, 3 match times, and then on the back, you go across, and it's your judging sessions. The judging sessions might not necessarily be in chronological order. Your third one might be first, then the first and the second. But they will all happen in a 50-minute period. Any other questions? Judging, project, how things work, anything?
We had a student on our team that had some incident at school, so she's on medical leave. Take her off the team, and that's what she did. I thought she was going to be coming back before the tournaments, but doesn't appear so at this point.
No, that's unfortunate. I mean, if you don't think she'll be able to make it, you can remove her. You can leave her on. Yeah. It's up to you at this point. I mean, you can kind of take her. I mean, I don't know what district rules apply in there with school districts, but if I guess in any case, if you do advance to the championship and she does able to come back for that, you can just leave her on. And if not, it is what it is. Well, I mean, sick is one thing, and that's understandable. You just, we want everyone present to participate in everything. The judges might, if you complete a judging profile, they might see 4 kids and 5 on the roster, and they might ask about it, and they'll be like, well, she's sick, and then that's what it is. We've had some judges awards have gone out to teams that have had half their team sick on the event day, and kind of an overcoming obstacles type of thing. So it's judges are kind of aware of that issue, and it's not, we don't consider it a DQ or anything. It's just it is what it is type of thing. Some people have unfortunate things that happen to them. I will change it tonight. I will pull all the team names down again tonight. So yeah. Oh yeah, just whatever. We don't. I don't pull stuff out of Tim's. I pull it out of Team Connect. So whatever Team Connect has for your team name is what will get used. Yeah, and yeah, but yeah, I'll pull them. I'll probably pull both teams for schedules tomorrow then. So as long as it's done tonight, it'll get reflected on all the schedules and the score system, and the awards and everything from there. Wednesday at 6. Correct. Yeah, I print them from Team Connect Wednesday night. So anytime after 6, I'll pull them and print. The judges really appreciate having them. It definitely does help. The judges always ask, why don't I have every team have a team profile? So I definitely encourage at least something there to help the judges. At least, especially a team picture and a robot picture really do help the judges when it comes to recalling the team, because they do see anywhere between 10 to 12 in a day. So it's those team profiles do help them with remembering what the team. They take their notes, but having that profile does definitely help them, especially the pictures.
Ones that you can add or you can drop pretty much like the kids, because he already pretty much like already close to the event. Is there any rule that say you're not allowed to add any member or remove any member after?
Once teams that advance to the championship have additional restrictions, because kids can't switch from a non-advancing team to an advancing team. That's against the participation rules. But if you try to add a student and then try to submit paperwork the night before, there's a chance that it won't get processed. And so check-in in the morning will be very confused as to why the team is not good for check-in. I understand stuff happens. I would try to do it, but Thursday prior. There's no real add-drop deadline. But once for all the paperwork lead time and stuff that we do, not the night before is preferable. Any other questions on that stuff? Non-robot game, or shall we jump into the robot game? All right. Okay.
Source that, the source, is that for the project?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like 3 interview is considered 3 or is considered 1? They can get internet, they can get book, they can get survey. But if they survey like 4 people, do you think that they consider as 4 sources, or is that considered as 1? Like 4 experts?
I think in the traditional research realm, that would be treated as 4 different sources. If you got 4 different sets of information, I would think that you could write that down as 4 sources. And even in that case, it does to the judges make it look like you had more sources. Instead of them glancing over and seeing 1, they see 4 type of thing. Okay. So let's jump into robot game stuff. I did notice this mat's really curled. There was a question on the RSVP form asking about if TV trays were banned. No, I think there might have just been some confusion regarding something that happened on the Duncan qualifier, but TV trays are definitely not banned. Just want to make sure that they're kind of out of, they're not, you don't want a super big one. You don't want to bring a 4x8 table and then that's not really going to work. But a small, reasonable table that just for parts and pieces, attachments to help with the flow of your match. So no, they are definitely not banned. So any other questions on robot game stuff? I know we had an email about the black bars. The black bars seems to always be confusing. Just remember that original setup condition does include where they are there on the demolition stack here in the sorter. There's 2 here that is still considered an original setup condition, and there's the 4 that exist over there on the border wall next to landfill. So those are in their original setup condition, which means that it is 96 points when you walk up to the table. If you do nothing, your robot sits in base for 2.5 minutes, it's considered 96 points because that's the initial state of the field. But then if you do knock over the tower, then those are no longer in original setup condition. So if they're anywhere on the mat applies and they start to become deductions. Another question that we came up on Facebook today was the animals. This has been an interesting point of contention at all of our events this year. But due to rule, I think it's D8, when it comes to the mission models, press fitting them together is technically against the rules, something like this. The gravity test still exists, but it's kind of rolled into D8, doesn't have a name anymore, it's just kind of a bullet point. But if you are to pick up one of the models, the other one should fall away to the mat. In the text of the rule, it states that the model was something. If you pick up the model, the something should fall away. We read that something to mean another mission model too, even though it's not directly explicit in the rules. Because the other interpretation would lead to some interesting things you could do on the table that were not, the precedent is not really all that great, and plus we don't feel it meets the rules. But there is some creative ways you can get away with putting the animals together to actually still be in compliance with the rules. All the condition states for the animals is that they have to be in the circle. So even if you have one animal fully in the circle and one partially in the circle, still the one in the circle would score, but the one not in the circle wouldn't because it doesn't meet the mission text. So it's part of that, I think it's GP5 too, the interpretation rule. So. If they're inside the black line, that's part of the region. The black line is part of the circle. Yeah, so unfortunately you guys, the camera's not live so you can't see this, but in that case, the turtle's back leg here is on the line, but the rest of it's in, so yes, that would still count as in.
Can you have more than one animal in one circle?
It doesn't say that you can't. So, yes, all it says is that they have to be in a circle. There's no mission text in there that I found that states that they have to be in each in their own circle. Correct?
You can have many animals in a circle. Okay.
Yes.
Coming back to your point, you just made, it's okay I can put, say, a turtle on top of the octopus and put it in a circle.
I mean, like that? Where they're just kind of resting, and now you pick up the turtle, the octopus doesn't go with it. There's nothing that says it has to touch the mat. So, yeah. that would be fine. Correct? Yes, I got a thumbs up.
Concerning that same mission, we thought we understood it, and then we read something on the Facebook page, and so then we got all kind of confused. If we leave the turtle and the plastic bag in the original game start position, and push some animals like the chicken or the octopus into one of the other circles, does it still score? Or do you have to have that plastic bag back in the home base to score any animals? Somebody on Facebook tried to say, no, you have to have the plastic bag into safety before you can score any of it. And I didn't think that's what it meant.
Do not believe that that is the case.
I thought it just meant in order to score the turtle into that circle, you had to clear the plastic bag out of that circle.
I believe the text states that it's free of plastic bags, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it just that one circle or any of the circles? So
Let
can you
me,
clarify that plastic bag issue for that mission?
I'm pulling up the score sheet here because that'll help answer some questions.
You get 30 points per bag completely in safety, and it says animals are 20 points.
So the
empty of a plastic bag. So if you put it
yeah, the circles are then in that case treated independently, and even the score sheet does say animals completely in any circle without bags. So there's no, and then there's bags completely in safety, animals completely in any circle without bags, and then the chicken one is its own separate condition. So in this case, there would be one animal that scores, because even though that plastic bag is still, it's preventing the turtle from scoring. And then, but yeah, so the octopus would score in that case. Yeah, I didn't. Correct. The field is scored at the. Yeah. So the field is scored at the condition it is when the buzzer sounds. That does include, like, if the buzzer sounds and then the robot knocks the animals out, then the ref would still consider them in scoring. You'd have to kind of reset it because we treat the field as when the buzzer sounds. Hopefully the robot is stopped before it causes any damage when the buzzer sounds. But if during the match you put in this case, the octopus in scoring position, and then it drives by and knocks it out, well, then it's no longer in scoring. We do score the match is scored at the condition when the buzzer sounds. Yeah, so the composter's been one of the, when it was unveiled to partners in July, we were all really excited about it. And then when we started using it, we realized it's quite a little monster of a machine. What we've started to do at our events is every now and then, it's just going to work perfectly right now because we're talking bad about it. But we do know that it jams. We do know that sometimes you push it just enough, you push it just right and it'll just stop. No real rhyme or reason, it just doesn't want to move anymore. So what we do in that case, when it jams, I'll let it go for a bit and then I will see if I can get it to jam. Okay, jam. So I can't even get this one to do the jam. That's pretty great. But in the case it does jam, and it's obvious to the ref that it was not pushed too hard, because there are cases where you can push this really hard and cause it to bounce back up if a team slams into it. In this case, we consider it that it was just pushed too hard and you need to try again, because the model itself is blocking it. But there is a case where it'll get into this position where it should be oscillating and ticking and it doesn't, and it just jams. All the refs have a spare one of these, and what we will do is wait about 20 seconds, which is about how long it takes, and then they'll just drop it in front. If there's less than 20 minutes in the match, they won't even bother. They'll just kind of, it won't, because it has to fall out before the end of the match anyway. So at that point, they just kind of treat it as not. They'll monitor it, and then they'll be like, all right, it started before, with more than 20 seconds left, it jammed. They hit it with the appropriate amount of engagement force. All right, we'll just put it down there. And it'll be in about the same position it would have been had it fallen out, in case teams want to try to grab it or whatever and do something with it to make the flower box. But we are aware of this model's finickiness, and so that's kind of our way of accounting for it, is to just give teams kind of a benefit of doubt here and just give it to them and then allow the match to continue. We found that out kind of the hard way at our first event. That's kind of been our fix, is to just let it, just to put that compost brick out for teams after about 20 seconds. It's a mission model, so it's not, I do not believe it falls under the junk penalty rules. No. I do believe the junk penalty specifically is for when things that are left behind that are brought to the table. They're team supplied stuff. Penalties. Junk penalty caused by each piece of equipment the robot strands partly in safety. That's an immediate penalty. And at the end of the match, by each piece of equipment still stranded completely outside of safety. Equipment is anything you bring to a match for mission-related activity. So any mission models do not count as junk now. They might count. I'm not sure. I don't know if the compost counts as, if there's any mission text against it. I don't believe there is. That causes anything separate to happen. Am I correct on that? If it's just on the field, it's on the field. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just. I think it
anything that you bring that you use in any of the mission that gets left outside of safety, that's junk. Okay, so for instance, in a couple of the qualifiers, some teams use an attachment for the two people to take to the sorting area. They were successful, but because they use something to combine the two people, they get a junk penalty.
Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. Like if you have a box, you put the people in and you just leave the box, that's considered a junk penalty because it's left on the field at the end of the match. It's outside of safety. I believe it's outside of safety is the...
Yeah, it has to be outside.
No. Okay, just one.
Good.
Yeah, all you need one.
Yeah.
You don't score extra for taking two people. So, but you know, some teams like to do that, you know. So, I mean, we don't tell them they can't do it. They don't want to be lonely, so I don't know.
Can you please just clarify this? When you push a person out on the careers towards this sort of thing, if it stops and he's partway on the white, does that count or not? Does he need to clear the white line into the colored area?
Yes, it has to be in the color area.
So clear the white line
Yes,
into the colored space.
yes. Because this is considered the boundary.
The white bit.
Yeah.
If you put two people in, the second one isn't considered junk then, right?
So you
Because it's already here. It's not something brought to the table. That's the key. What you bring to the table that you used for the mission. That's the key.
I also think there's something said about calling a second person junk, but I don't think Lego wants to deal with that.
And there were some left junk, but you only get 4, touch penalty or junk penalty. That's something for you to think about.
there's, I mean, the penalties kind of still, there's no additional, because the penalties are the four blocks that are on the border wall.
You think about it. After 4, it's all done. No more penalties. I'm just saying.
All right, you know, you're keeping track on your fingers of how many were,
I mean, the penalty markers are the black bars. There's no additional penalty indicators, so it's just those.
so if you got enough time left, then you just knock
I mean,
it down.
if you just kind of the trade-off of getting those 4 black bars to now be on not in setup position, those become negative points against the team. You know, is that trade-off worth it? Can you get more points? You know, can you gain more points while sacrificing the touch penalties? You know,
It's entirely up to you.
it's a strategy option. It's just kind of one of those, whatever the team wants to do.
I have a question about at the end of the match. For example, it's like by the time it's like the count is done, and then the robot just done the last mission, but it's not back into the base yet. Is that going to be the last mission will be count as long as it's complete?
So it's we score the field at the end of the match. So whatever the state the field is in at the end of the match is what counts. If the robot is still manipulating something, you know, if something is not in scoring position at the end of the match while the robot is still engaging with it, well, then it doesn't count. But if the robot drops something off, then it's in scoring position, the buzzer sounds, well, then it's scored. It's more about what is in scoring position when the buzzer sounds than kind of necessarily where the robot is. If that makes sense.
Yeah, the robot doesn't have to be at base at the end of the match.
Do you strand your robot at the, like, for your last mission?
I mean, like Michael said, let's say that your last mission is the truck, okay, and it's pushing it and goes here, and the robot is still here, buzzer sounds. This course, as long as it was completed when the buzzer sounds, it doesn't matter where the robot is.
And there is the leniency to, before the end of the match, the buzzer, to go out there and just stop the robot and leave where it is. That is a valid thing to do. If you feel like your robot is either out of control, it's going crazy, or you're just done, you can just walk out there, touch it, and stop it, and that does not actually trigger a penalty. It just triggers what effectively is an end of the match.
Yeah, what we usually do is, you know, when the kids are just standing there and, you know, they're looking at each other like, are you guys done?
Yeah.
Or do you want us to stop the robot so it, you know, doesn't mess anything else up? You know, we'll pop the kids. Like, do you want us to stop the robot? Are you done? You know, we're not going to do anything until we hear confirmation from the kids. Yes, we're done. Then we'll stop the robot, we'll score it. But we're not going to do anything because the kids might change their mind. You know, we might say, okay, they'll say, we're done. Are you sure? Are you sure you're done? Then if they confirm it again, that's when we'll stop the robot. And then, you know, the kids can pick up the robot without any touch penalty or anything.
And usually you just start count after the robot's done, and then the group will say it's done. Because sometimes the robot do haywires and then messing up everything that is already in score positions, and then they knock it out.
Right.
But it's not going to be valid until they say it's done, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So if you know they walk out there and stop it, then the ref will be like, okay, well, I'll score the field now, even if the buzzer hasn't sounded.
Yeah.
They'll start scoring the field and going through the workflow. But it is an option if you want to just stop the robot and leave it. You know, and the kids should make that call. And the kids can even walk out there and do it and let the ref know we're done. We're gonna leave the robot there and the ref will score and then go through the reset sequence. But you know, the refs can help. They can't reach it. You know, the kids should try to get it whenever they're trying to retrieve it from when it's out of control. But the refs can step in and help as needed. But there is that understanding that the refs doesn't understand the robot, so they pick it up wrong.
Yeah, and the reason why we want a second confirmation is, in the past, we've heard, yes, we're done, and then no, we changed our mind. And that's not what we want to happen again. So, I mean, if coaches that are here, if you guys only have 2 or 3 missions, or however, and you're done, tell the kids, hey, tell the rep we're done.
Some teams it's the case. I mean, they have 3 missions. They hit them all in sequence perfectly, and they're like, well, okay. You know, let the ref know they can just get you out of there quicker. And score the field. So that is, it's a footnote at the bottom of page 21 in very small print, but there is the leniency to just stop the robot in the match.
So how many point deduct for the touch penalties and then for the?
It is whatever the black bars count against you, -8 per bar. So there's a total of, I guess that would be 36 points, right? 14. Yeah, that's math. Or is it 32? 32. See, it's
Well, yeah, there's 32 here, but if you knock this, that's 4 if they're anywhere. So that's another,
32.
that's 32.
On the demolition parts, I know they say that if there is any black bars, it will become as the jump penalty. But how about if the yellow or the blue bars is still?
It's only the black.
So the blue and the yellow that is not bring it back to the safety, not going to count as the jump.
Nope.
So
It's only
but
black.
can we remove it or it will be stay? Can we ask the referee?
If it's straddling safety, we'll bring it into safety. If it's outside safety, it stays where it's at.
So you cannot remove
Nope,
it.
you
even
can't
though-
move it.
Okay.
Everything kind of stays with the ball. And then the refs, when they put the penalties in play, they just kind of knock them off the ball and just put them behind the.
Yeah, well, if there's a touch penalty, we'll just put it right there so it's not in the way.
It's just out of the way. It's behind the landfill.
So if that thing is hinder the robot to move, and that means that the thing's not able to move on because of that, the ways like like the demolition is stay, that means that's it.
What things fall and they stay the way they are when it happens outside base, or outside safety rather. Just kind of how it is. If the robot goes haywire and throws whatever it's trying to deliver halfway across the field, and that's where it comes to rest, and that's where it comes to rest, and it stays there. It's just kind of how those rules work. So if you do topple the building and pieces come in your way, that might be something that kids need to plan for. Either having some sort of skid or something to push them out of the way as the robot leaves again.
Well, that's something that we need to know. So we're
Yeah.
not going to be able to ask the referee to move it, so it will be stay as it is.
Everything will stay where they are, unless there's any exceptions in the rules that do allow teams to ask the ref to do things. I don't think there's any of that stuff this year. There's been stuff like that in years past, and everything this year kind of stays where it falls. Anything outside of safety, that is. Anything in safety is their team pleasure.
Yes, I was gonna say, so with the demolition of the building, that falls, the pieces ran where they ran, so that, the salvage mission, does it matter what order, if you can go back and get the salvage before the later?
I don't think there's any requirements in the
You can
tech.
knock the building down first, and salvage is still where it's at. You can come back later and bring it to safety, you get the score. It doesn't matter what order you do this.
I mean, the mission text says, move valuables to safety. No.
On the last coach meeting, you also mentioned that you can also knock it down all of it at the once, right? Doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Because there is no rule that say that you have to do one every time, but if
No.
you can able to.
All it says is-
Will be fine.
All it says is you knock it down. Doesn't say in one sequence, or you gotta do this first, and then come back and do the second one, and then do this.
I mean, specific, there are no requirements here that say how to do it. It just says none of the building's 12 beams is left standing in set position.
And then the sound purchase will be in the safety again of the,
Valuables completely in safety.
yeah.
So,
So with the building, I say you not to roll the blue, yellow, and black pieces of the toilets. Still in its original position.
somehow,
Say like a robot runs into it and just
yeah.
the blue, yellow, and black pieces fell down. Is then that not considered fully demolished because the toilet is still?
No, it's just a, it's just,
It doesn't say anything about the valuable. It says none of the building's 12 beams is left standing.
yeah, it's, the beams is referring to the bars.
Yeah, the valuables are a completely separate thing. Remember, there's also no requirement on how the building falls, so you don't have to use a lever. It's just a nothing. You're not left with something like this. You can do that from this angle without knocking the table off the table. If you end up with something like this after knocking it over, that still is considered, there's one in setup position, so it's considered not scored.
We've never seen it happen, but I guess it could.
Yeah, this thing is immensely unstable. Things like this, you breathe on it the wrong way and it falls over, so.
Yeah, what happens if the kids actually come up to the table during the sound in the middle of their
Anything that's not done by the robot should be reversed as soon as possible. And I believe the rule states that if it can't be reversed, it's just considered not scored.
Any kids get stuck in and fix it, or does it have to?
Kids can't touch anything on that.
Okay.
That's the other thing. Obviously, most of you are veterans, but if you're not, when we call your team to the table, the kids can look to see if there's anything out of whack. They can ask us to, hey, even if they, this doesn't look right, Ref. Can you double check? Yeah, we'll double check. Okay, so but please, tell your kids, they cannot touch. Okay, they can look, if there's anything out of whack, come to the ref or the resetter. Hey ref, can you double check this just to make sure? And we'll do it. Okay.
And teams you have at least 1 minute per setup, sometimes more, depending on how the schedule's going that day. Depending on which event too, because the schedule's a different each event. If we can, we'll have like an 8-minute turnover for each match, and then Duncan or North will have a 10-minute turnover. So,
How many robot games do you get to do? Is it 3 or 4, or is it kind of?
with the exception of the central event, all qualifiers have 3 robot matches. Every team has 3 shots at the table. You get a high score. Central had 4 to get extra time today, but
Plus we encourage teams to be on the first.
yeah.
More chances.
So you'll 3 shots, and I think everyone will go once before lunch, and then 2 after lunch.
And that's how it's been.
Your times are kind of randomized, so it'll be at any point during those hour-and-a-half blocks. And the highest score is the one that matters. And then for, I don't recall off the top of my head, but do remember that I think it's 11 and 16. We'll confirm at the morning of the event in terms of how many are left to advance. Should be 26. The team doesn't advance out these last 2 qualifiers, so it might be 11. I don't remember. It's been a while, but there was also a ranking cutoff. So you'll have to be higher or equal to a certain ranking number. The robot game to be eligible to be considered for advancement. And from that, you will pick the number that will advance. So in the case of the Duncan event, I believe teams have to be in the top 17 of the robot game to be eligible for one of the 9 spots to advance the championship. That's a first rule. And then for the champion RTX days when we had inter-communication, where teams would program other teams' robots. But with Bluetooth and stuff, in the pits it should be fine. You might, depending on how many, you might have it be very slow, interference and all that stuff. But in the pits it should be fine, as long as you're not doing it on the field during the match. And so that's you cannot connect to the robot wirelessly during a match. It's against the field rules. And it's supposed to be autonomous. So you can really get creative and use a phone to just remotely It's quite obvious too when the kids are going, wow, look at do all this stuff. There's someone that stands like,
With the transport, with the truck, does it have to be all the way off of the guide in order to count the full points?
the truck.
Yeah, or just the bin?
Or just the.
It won't help the guy. It shouldn't help the guy because it has itself.
What if the bin is kind of halfway leaning on the truck and halfway off?
You just broke the truck.
That's what I want to
You mean it's like this?
Yeah. That's
That's
not,
completely.
has to be all the way.
All the way
It's
up.
gotta get a good push.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other side.
And it actually happened at Duncan, where the yellow bin was on the side, and they got it all the way here. Doesn't count, because it never met the first criteria that it was fully supported on the truck.
Okay, so then the bin, it has to be completely clear of the truck in order to get the
The full point, it has to meet the first criteria that it was fully supported on the bed of the truck, not at the side.
Right,
If it's at the side,
right, that doesn't count.
yeah. But if it's like this, but it's still fully supported, and it goes all the way, yeah, you get the full score.
Okay.
But your question earlier was, I think, was like this.
Okay,
You get the first part,
right.
but not the second part.
Got it.
So if you fail the first part, you automatically disqualify for the second part.
Yeah. Because logic says if you didn't do the first part, there's no way you could have done the second part.
Yeah. It says it's completely, the first one is completely, the truck supports all the yellow bin's weight. The second part is the yellow bin is completely easy to the truck's bag.
So just to let you know, we did see it happen. We were all surprised, but it happened.
Have you seen anything with the safety and the attachments as far as people not having that correct?
You mean
Starting out with attachments out or,
when they start the mission?
yeah,
No, for the most part, from what we've seen, everybody's starting in base. You have to start in base, not in safety.
okay. Completely in base.
When, yeah, completely in base. When you're coming back, when say this is a new robot, when you're coming back, before you can touch it, it has to be in safety. If part of it is in safety and you touch it, you get a touch penalty.
So it all has to be in base.
Yeah.
So the robot, you can touch the robot after, as long as the robot fully in safety,
Yes.
not in base.
That's in the rule.
Okay, so.
Most of the stuff are in the rules.
Okay, I thought it had to be completely in base.
No, safety.
Okay,
To start, it has to be in base.
I see.
But to come back, it has to be in safety.
Okay, so then.
Same thing for, let's say, for example, the retrieving is coming in, kids touch it, this thing is still out, ref takes it, no longer in play. Whatever they're trying to bring back has to be in safety as well.
Completely in line,
Completely in safety.
or like in the line, and then that has to be repeated
Completely in safety,
or inside.
the black.
How about the attachment? So for example, it's like if there is attachment.
If there's an attachment,
So,
and they touch the robot, the attachment sticking up in the air,
so the attachment that bring it in is like, it's kind of like up a little bit. So.
it's still out. Any attachment that's part of, it's considered part of the robot. So any attachment, anything with the robot, and when they're trying to bring back, everything has to be completely safe.
Okay, even though the robot's completely in the shape, but then part of the attachment is.
Attachment, if a part of an attachment is out, it's considered out.
I see, okay.
Good question, but that's how it is. I mean, just because you put an attachment, it's not part of the robot, you use an attachment for a particular mission, well, that attachment is considered part of the robot for that mission.
So have to be completely in safety line
Yes,
by the end of the mission.
yes. If they're bringing something back, or if they don't want a touch penalty.
Okay, so even though like everything's in the base, but this tiny bit of attachment is still outside, the robots and everything else is in the base, it's still considered is outside because that tiny parts, right?
If they're bringing something back, if that something is completely in, and
The robot.
part of that attachment is out, you get that whatever you're bringing back because that one is in, but you get a touch penalty because the robot is still out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I have a question. Before the match starts, all the little pieces that are already in the base,
Yes.
like the windshield and the
Yeah.
careers people, can they touch those and move those
Oh, yeah,
before
yeah.
it starts so they can get those out
Oh,
of the
yeah,
before
yeah,
the match
yeah.
starts?
Well, there was a creative solution for some of the teams at Duncan. Some of them didn't have any coffee tables. They brought their little chairs with them, and they sat them on the chair.
Okay. So they can pick those things up and get them out.
As long as the rest can see where they are.
Okay.
I mean, we're
Yeah,
We're
there's a
not
lot
that
of stuff
strict.
in there and it's getting kind of cluttered when the robot comes, so I thought, I didn't know if they could move it beforehand or not. Or if they had to wait till the match started, so you can move it beforehand.
yeah, as long as we can see it.
Okay.
It might be a good idea for the kids to tell the refs that we're taking these out and putting them right here. So then the refs know. Because it could be that, the refs didn't see, and it's all of a sudden something's missing. We can't start because we didn't know what happened to
Right.
the pieces.
So you just have to directly know ahead of time that any missions or anything that you're going to put it aside so they can watch whether it's in safety.
I'm sorry?
Okay, add to that one, for example, like for the demolition part, you bring it in safety, completely, and then can you take it out and then put aside to prepare for the next mission?
She said once you were successful bringing it in, and then they just want to move it out of the way, or because it has to be. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of sits, but then they just want to move it out of the way so that way it's not in the way.
Yeah, I mean, it says handling and storage of allowable things may extend out of safety into adjacent to relevant field space, only if specific actions and locations are completely non-strategic.
Yeah, so I think your question was if they were successful in bringing this back, and then later in the match, they just want to move it out of the way, so that way, they have a little bit more room. Yes, that's fine.
Any other questions So, I mean, you can the chicken can rest on the octopus, but you can't press fit them together. You know, you have to make it so that when you lift up one, the other falls. So, I mean, the chicken can ride on it. And there's also some, to not give away, I guess, some secrets some teams have come up with, but there is a way to get them to lock together, but still meet the fall away requirement. But I'm not going to give that away. There some teams when we
Some teams are very creative, we'll tell you that.
we come up.
You can't use the little Lego nuts to hook them together, but.
No, there are ways. I will say that there are ways to make it work, but I'm not going to give them away. But yeah, something like this where the chicken is press fit, right? Where it just doesn't. Yeah, that's not good. But there are ways to get them to. Well, yeah, I mean, but an enclosed box.
Not necessarily.
An enclosed box.
Not necessarily.
An
So-
enclosed box also still presents the same problem because you pick up the box and the other one doesn't fall free to the mat. So. And you have junk.
Right, and you have junk. That's a good point.
So. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, and we will see you guys at the competitions. So thank you all. Have a good to your events.